Well, welcome viewers all around Australia. My name is Tony Neal and it's our pleasure to be joined by Glenn Barnden. Welcome, Glenn.
Lovely to be here, Tony. Thank you.
Mate, we are in magnificent Mandurah here. It's 16 degrees at the moment. It's a fine day at Lane Group Stadium, the home of Peel Thunder, and it looks magnificent out there, Glenn.
Beautiful facility and a beautiful day for the start of this year's carnival. Of course, coming back after a couple of years hiatus because of COVID, and everyone's very excited to be back. And we've got 4 big days, as you mentioned, Tony.
So it is the Western Australian Country Football League Championships, sponsored by Nutrien Ag Solutions, fantastic sponsor, just on 40 years, I believe. Mate, 4 days of football ahead of us. We'll just talk our way through. Thursday and Friday is the Colts, and also the final will be on Friday afternoon. Then on Friday starting is the seniors with Division 1 and Division 2. Friday and Saturday, and of course the big finals on Sunday, Glenn.
Yes, at the Wacker, which is pretty special in itself. Although it's a cricket ground, it's a beautiful ground to play footy on, and I would imagine most of the clubs and leagues are very, very keen to get to the Wacker on Sunday for the big finals. But yeah, there's a lot of lead up to it. There's a lot of work to be done, and I know the clubs and the associations have all worked really hard to make this happen.
Mate, we were out and about yesterday, and it's a pleasure to meet these people coming from all the different areas. We met some people down by the ocean, and then we've come out to the ground. There's people in the background here, and just from all walks of life all around Australia. Let's just have a look at what the viewers are in for today, and there's going to be some QR codes come up at the end that we'll discuss as well, and how to get these links. And day one, of course, we have the Welcome to Country and the smoking ceremony, which will be fantastic to see. And then
very important because of the NAIDOC week that we have these smoking ceremonies, and I congratulate the WA Footy Commission, the West Australian Country Footy League, and all the leagues who have taken this on board. And majority of leagues now have an Indigenous round as the year goes on, so this is a real opportunity to celebrate the First Nation people.
Fantastic, and of course NAIDOC week as well. So our games today, Regional Districts versus Pilbara. The first game kicks off at 9:30 a.m. Great Northern versus Peel. We then go to the Northern Suns versus Southwest. As we said, Glenn, they are coming from everywhere, mate.
They are.
Great Southern versus Regional Districts, and then we start to see the second games come in. So Pilbara versus Great Northern, Peel versus Northern Suns, and Southwest versus Great Southern at 3:30 will be the final game.
Yes, so Regional Districts is a combination of leagues. Pilbara, of course, says where it is, and that's in the northern part of the state. Great Northern is around Geraldton and contributes to about 7 clubs around there. Peel is where we are now,
yes,
around Mandurah,
yep.
A very well populated area, and you'd expect Peel. And the next side that's playing, Northern Suns, that's a combined side, and that's a side from sort of south of the, north of the Great Eastern Highway, and the southwest, of course, Bunbury, well known as a great football community and the powerhouse in this competition. So you expect where the population base is, generally is Peel and Southwest, and you'd expect those sides to be the sides to beat in the Colts competition.
Well, we had a bit of a look last night. Peel had their jumper presentation here, and they've come here to win, and I'm sure every club has come along, every region, so come along and have a look. We're going to have a look at the general areas and the map of where the teams come from now, and then we'll discuss how the games work. So we can see the map coming up now, and just a little bit of a discussion around maybe some of those areas. Glenn, with your knowledge?
Yes, well, the leagues in the Colts competition are generally the Colts, as I mentioned earlier, the combined side, which is the regional districts, the Northern Suns, which is north of the Great Eastern Highway, which has a number of leagues making up that, and they are a very formidable combination. They work hard as communities to make footy so successful. And we're talking about the Northern Suns, we're talking about players from the northern area, also players from the Quairading, Cunderdin, Calabarin, Tamman, Beverley,
Wow.
Darrigan area. So it's a wide range. Players from Central Midlands Coastal, players from the Mortlock Footy League, players from the Avon Football Association. Avon Football Association, being around Moora, is generally a very strong league. Only an hour from Perth. A lot of good Perth players
Not far to
travel
Yep.
out of town to play there. And so the Avon Football Association makes up the good part of the Northern Suns, but they are assisted by Central Midlands Coastal Footy League, which is a coastal league. Goes into Moora and around to Dandarrigan, to Lancelin, Cervantes and Jurien Bay. And then we've got the Mortlock Footy League, which includes Gingin, Darren, Wildcatcham and Cervantes, as I mentioned, there from the Central Midlands Coastal. So a nice break-up from the Northern Suns, and they should be pretty formidable. They're coached by Cameron Snook, and, you know, they'll put a good account of themselves, but probably outgunned by the bigger population bases.
And Glenn, just the difference in football. Are we going to see maybe some players coming out of the wet weather, dry weather, down down south versus up north? What are we going to
Just follow
see
on,
for
Tony,
our viewers?
because, you're going to see a different style of play. Players generally north of the Great Eastern Highway don't have as much rainfall, so they don't play a lot of wet weather football. We're fortunate the next couple of days at least look like they're going to be pretty dry, so conditions will suit those fast running players, those fast running sides, and you'd expect the players can use that pace and use that skill. Even their body build and body strength is generally different. You'll find the Peel and Southwest are bigger bodied, stronger bodied players than players from Great Northern, which are generally more slimmer, more athletic types who like to get out into the open spaces and run.
Yeah, it's going to be so exciting. And look, how do you prepare as a coach? Because you're not going to know who the opposition are. You're not going to know game style and
yes.
all of this. But we're going to see pure football. One of my little themes, I've got a theme for each day, Glenn, and stay with me, mate. This will be interesting. A little quote: when you have a thoroughbred, you don't leave it in the paddock. Let them play. Put them out there. Let them play. Display their talent and play to strength. So we had a little discussion with a couple of the coaches. So, well, have you got a game plan, or do you just put them out there? They're all very talented players, and it's interesting the contrast. Some have said, yes, we do, and some have said, well, pretty much put them out there, put them in their strongest positions, of course, and let's see what happens.
Well, I think the bigger population bases that are closer together, such as Peel and Southwest, have an opportunity to perhaps have a game style because they can train more often. A lot of these other communities are a fair way apart. They probably only get to train once prior to the carnival. They know each other because they play against each other, but they don't really know each other's game style. So it is a different sort of situation. I think most coaches would probably let the players play with flair, particularly in weather conditions such as this.
Beautiful.
You people can get in the open spaces, use their pace, use their skill, but of course, there will be different styles, and that's what makes it exciting at the Nutrien Ag Carnival.
All right, Glenn, fantastic to have a little chat. What we did, we caught up over the last few days with a couple of coaches. We've got Regional District Coach Cody Kelman and the Peel Cavaliers Coach Craig Otto, and we've also caught up with some players as well. So we're going to throw to those interviews now and enjoy for the viewers. Hi guys, well here we are with Cody Kelman. First of all, welcome Cody.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
The coach of regional districts. Now the boys are all wandering around behind us, and there's a few here waiting in the wings. Just tell us a little bit about where the team has come from. It's a little bit of a mixture of a few regional areas.
Far and wide, to be honest with you, far and wide. So Kalgoorlie, Esperance, Upper Great Southern area, Lower Southwest. We've got Ongra. We've got a majority of the leagues outside the sort of major leagues, which is interesting. We've all got here about an hour or so ago, and we're down near the water having a bit of a stretch and trying to learn who each other are. There's a lot of the coaches that don't know the players, and the players don't know each other. So we're trying a few methods as far as introducing each other, and then we've got a few other activities in the next couple of hours. We can get to know each other before we go to battle tomorrow.
And then talking about that, on the ground, the game plan itself, and you've coached seniors, you've coached at this level and so on, and very knowledgeable with your coaching, but do you have a game plan with this type of group, or do you just put them out there and let them play?
Well, they are the best players from the region that we could select, so that's a really good start. But I suppose the next phase of it is that we've got two 20-minute halves in each game, so we've got to sort of be run and stun and try and pretty much be accountable early and lock down, and then when we get it, we just got to attack as hard as we can and try and get some scoreboard pressure on.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I was trying to calculate on the way here. 2 20-minute halves. If you kick 30 goals in a game of football, you know, what's a reasonable score? Maybe 12 to 15 goals would be an outstanding game.
Oh, that'd be high scoring. I would have thought. Obviously, with the players not knowing each other, they're not a readily oiled machine like some of the other associations will be. So we're going to have to scrap and do what we can to start with until we get a bit of momentum. But once we get going, if you're kicking 8 goals in those 2 20-minute halves, I think you're around the mark.
And a bit of the older, autocratic, democratic. Autocratic is it's on the coach and you do it this way, and democratic is, okay, let the players have a little bit of input. Decision making on ground, you've probably got a fair few captains and vice captains in the group, so how does that work on game day?
Well, the majority of our players would have played senior footy in their own country footy league, which is a big advantage from being so isolated. So yeah, there will be a degree of responsibility of the leaders out there to be able to sort of direct traffic. We'll try and sort of keep control of what's going on, but in the end, the boys, if there's move needs to be made, they can make it themselves.
And we saw a couple of your methods off camera, which are very good because it's only early for them. The team bonding and the gel. You've only got really a few hours today. Tomorrow it's get changed in the change rooms and we're on. And who's a left footer, who's a right footer, who's a dominant kick, who's a dominant handballer. How is that going to, I guess, come to the fore once game time's on? How are you going to work with that gelling method?
We're going to have to work with it because we've got no idea currently, to be quite honest with you. Although I watched the majority of the players playing a carnival a couple of weeks ago and putting a face to a name and working out what we got and looking at our squad, I think we're going to be reasonably tall, which is very, very pleasing for me as a coach. But also we've got some really, really good ball movers as well. So we'll be looking to attack the game at all times.
Now, Cody Kelman, as a coach with toes on the white line, what do you like? Are you up and about? Are you a quiet man? How are you on game day?
Very different to when I was a player. I can give you that tip. I was quite feisty when I played, which is fine, and that's all part of it. And but yeah, I'm a lot calmer as a coach, although still can assert some authority where it's required. Although I like to be calm because when they come in, the players are calmer and they get a bit of feedback from them and let them be involved. And when the whips are down and need to be cracking, that's still my job.
Well, it's reflective, isn't it? The leaders at the top, and it's reflective of what you put out is what comes back. Few people around, a lot of families travel down for these. They've got to come from a lot of different regions, don't they?
Yeah, I believe there is a few, although this age group with them being able to turn 19 this year, I dare say a few of the boys from closer to the Big Smoke would have made their own way down. But there will be, it's definitely, especially from the region where I'm from, Kalgoorlie, a lot of the parents like to be amongst it and watch the progress of their child.
All right, Cody, we're going to wish you all the best for the championships, mate. We've got a couple of lads over here. Can you just bring them over and we'll have a chat one at a time?
Yeah, so I'll bring Jevon over. Thanks very much for that, mate.
No, fantastic, mate. All the best. And just while you're here, we will give you, sir, a Dartfish beanie. It'll be cherished across these championships. And you're the first one, so congratulations on that.
Appreciated.
You'll
Thanks,
learn about it. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good on you.
So Great Southern, do you play against their last player at all, or different region?
No, totally different region. I'm from half of Great Southern. He's from Esperance. So,
okay.
We played against each other in the carnival in Lake Grace a couple of weeks ago. So,
Yeah. What position do you play?
normally ruck.
Ruck. It didn't come up against him, did you?
But we met a couple of times on the field.
Yeah. Oh, this will be interesting, folks. I hope you're not bunking together. So tell us how did you come down here today? Were you with family or in a?
Came down with family. Took one of my mates as well.
I was going to say any other players in the car, mate. And so how far did you have to travel?
I live in Narrogin, which is about 200 k's away, so just over 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, last bloke, mate, he was 7 hours. So bit of music in the car, or you just sit back and watch a video, or?
Yeah, just try and get past all the truckers and that all.
Yeah, and bit of motivational stuff on the way down here, or are you just going to wait till game day?
Oh, the family was in the car, so they can't play all the good music.
Oh, okay, a little bit of a sing-along and all that. No, it's great, mate. What are you looking forward to out of the carnival? Just the actual enjoyment of getting out and playing with some really good players. Yeah, alongside your teammates you've got at home, but just to meet some different players. I know, did you have to stand up in the circle here before and speak?
Yeah, I was in the circle, one of the first ones in the hotel. So yeah, no, definitely good to play with a few more high level boys, new faces and familiar faces as well.
Yeah, and it's great for your footy career. isn't it? It's something you'll remember no matter where. Opponents and some guys you wouldn't know at all.
Yeah, there's a few like new faces and stuff like that, but we played them at the Great Southern Carnival, so
Yep.
I sort of know how they play, and yeah, it's good to be like a
Yeah.
good team now. So
And what are you looking forward to? It looks like we're going to have good weather, a bit of speed of play in the 20-minute quarters, isn't it?
yeah, pretty keen for the pace. Like I'm a forward myself, so hopefully I'll be receiving some real good balls.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's going to take 5 or 10 minutes. You'll know pretty quickly who the midfielders are and how it's going to work. Key forward, centre forward, full forward, or flanker.
yeah, one of the two. I
Yeah.
don't really mind.
Fantastic,
As long as
mate.
I'm in range of the sticks. So.
Your parents know to tune in and watch the filming when you're on.
Yeah, well, Dad was going to come down, but he got COVID the other day, so
Oh, okay.
I had to go back to Esperance.
You took a wide berth, I hope.
Yeah, I was staying away, so.
Nah, great, mate. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, well done on getting selected, mate. You're a credit
Cheers.
to your family, to your home club, and also the region that you're representing, mate. So thanks for spending that time with us, and we wish you all the best. Well, folks, it's our great pleasure to be joined by Craig Otto, the Colts coach of Peel Cavaliers. Welcome.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for having me.
Mate, let's get straight into it. How is your team selected? Was there a carnival leading in? How do you get all your players together?
There was. We played in the Great Southern Carnival down Lake Grace a couple of weeks ago. So, almost 3 weeks ago now. We had an initial squad that we took down. There were 25 players. So they are all the Peel Football League players. Yep. This carnival we've been able to add a couple of waffle players. There's a couple of alignments with South Fremantle, the Mundijong boys. So we've added two of the guys from South Fremantle that were eligible under the rules. But besides that, again, we've just got all local players besides those two. So we ended up a squad of 30 and we played with 25. We've got a few emergencies and unfortunately we lost a couple the last few days with injuries and a bit of sickness. So, but we're in good health otherwise, looking good.
All right. And have you been able to get the squad together for some of the training sessions?
So we started pretty well round 3 or 4. So we had about 5 Monday night sessions leading into the Great Southern Carnival. So you really get 5 sessions with them. And bear in mind, it is a Monday night. They've played on the weekend. So it really is just touching, skill, touch. So it's not a lot of game style, game plan stuff. And it's just about getting them together, building those bonds, that friendship, the trust, the accountability, all that sort of stuff you want to do in football. And that's what we've done. And we've had 2 sessions after the carnival. So here we are.
And you've touched on it there, Craig. I think that's so important, isn't it? It's more than just, we talk about game days 2 hours, or in this case 1 hour on game day, but it's the other stuff around. You're developing players, which is great, but you're developing life skills. The focus you touched on. Do you have a game plan, or do you just put them out on the paddock and say, just go your hardest, boys, we're a super talented team? How does that work?
Well, it's a good question because they are pretty talented, and as I said, you're working a lot on skills and just touch. No, there is a bit. You're in 2 20-minute halves, so you want to get that ball going nice and quick. Game plan without giving too much away is really, I like to work 6 possessions from the defensive 50 going forward and having a shot for goal. So we like to play with a bit of flair. We'll take the game on. We've got some good runners, and hopefully we've got a couple of the big boys that can clunk it up forward and kick a couple of goals. So, yeah.
And we were discussing that, the coaches talk about, I'll get the ball in our front half and then we'll win it from there. You can have it in your front half for 10 minutes and not score. As you've said, couple of possessions, bang, bang, bang. Tell us about, I love this one. I'm asking coaches, have you got a theme for the week? You guys have. Tell us about that.
I do, and we've run with it now for this is a couple of years for us. So we run with what we call the Brotherhood. That's our trademark. Bone deep with the Brotherhood. So as I said, we just try to build that friendship, the trust within the group, and it's something that they buy into. And you see by the end of these carnivals, they really buy into it and take it on board and run with it. So it's been good.
I think the important thing too, Craig, whether they come down to Waffle, whether they go interstate, whether they stay at their local level, do they make AFL, whatever, they remember this experience. It's not just playing, it's experience. And you're playing with guys that are normally your opponents, but you can make lifelong friends. So certainly the culture is very important.
That was the first sort of words out of my mouth. 17's become one. We are the Peel Cavaliers. So that's really important just to get that bond. It takes a little bit. It starts off very slowly, but that trust, especially the last carnival at Lake Grace, where, as I just said to the boys just then, we had a bit of a meeting. They live with each other on a golf club. The swags are out. They learn each other's bad habits, good habits. They're good mates now, and they'll go away better mates after the next couple of days too.
Well, certainly going to be interesting to watch. Just a final question, being so close, do the families, many of the families travel down as well for support?
Like I said, we are close. This is our local home ground for some of the boys. We've only got one Mandurah player that plays at home ground here. Tyler Gadd is one of our vice captains. But most of the guys are South Mandurah, Halls Head. We're from Mundajong, Rockingham. So we're all pretty close, and we get to go home and sleep in our own beds Thursday night, ready for Friday. So a bit of a bonus there.
That may well be the home ground advantage right there. Listen, Craig, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Get an insight. I really loved the methods that you've used to put the team together, number one, but to get them to gel, the time that it takes to do that. So we'd like to wish you all the very best for the carnival, and we'll keep a close eye on things.
Appreciate that, Tony. Thanks very much for having us.
And we're going to present you with the Archie's thongs, mate. We've been telling people you'll sleep in them. They're that comfortable, mate. So they are the best pair of thongs you'll ever wear, and we'd like you to have them on behalf of the production staff. So thanks for joining us.
Fantastic, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And welcome back, viewers, and fantastic to see those interviews. And Glenn, these lads have travelled long distances, as we've heard. The Peel guys are probably half an hour away, and some are 7 or 8. I spoke with a gentleman from Broome today that's flowing in, so you can come by plane, car, horse, motorbike.
Yeah, there's 6
as long as they get here.
Yeah, that's right. There's 6 or 7 leagues that are north of the 26th parallel.
Yeah.
So they're in remote outback country, and it's wonderful that they were able to come down and be a part of this. But as you say, people from Peel and Southwest, they're only an hour's drive away, and they're here. But it's great anticipation. As we see, the young players have been out in preparation for the first game this morning, and they're setting themselves up for what is going to be an exciting carnival.
And weather conditions at the moment, folks, it's about 9 degrees. We're expecting 16. I'm going to throw to you here because I'll cover the weather. What do you reckon? The ground looks magnificent. They've re-sown the centre circle here. Long stops or short stops, Glenn? What are we going with?
I think you'd go with long stops. It'd be pretty slippery underfoot,
Yes.
but not as bad as it could be. We've seen worse conditions of this for the Country Carnival. All the farmers across Western Australia are hoping for some rain, so hopefully
great.
it'll come this weekend because they certainly need it. But the fact is now we've got good conditions and players of both up north of the state, south of the state will enjoy these conditions, and we'll see some really good quality football over the next 4 days.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we cannot wait for those next 4 days. Just some facts from the Western Australian Country Football League. It's massive, Western Australia.
It
You know,
is.
we come from different states, and you see Western Australia and think, wow, and then you see the map with all the different areas. But there are, I think we've got to really respect what happens out here. The 5,000 volunteers, we cannot thank them enough for the work that they do. There's 25 leagues, 114 LGAs, 150 clubs, and wait, 12,500 players. So that is sensational.
That is
We get
magnificent.
the cream of the crop down here, but look, every player out there, anyone that pulls on a footy boot and has a go, and because you've got the male and the female, and with the female Country Football League, there are 8 leagues, 37 clubs, 1,100 players, and that is absolutely growing.
It is growing year by year, and the football quality is improving in the women's competition markedly. But as you mentioned, there's so many people involved. It's so important that people be involved in country community sport. And we do know that although there's women's competition in some leagues, in other leagues there's hockey and netball.
Yep.
So it all comes together. It makes a very special day for the community. And when you don't have those games happening on a weekend in your local community, people feel like they don't have a town, they don't have a community, so it's important that our volunteers continue to put the foot forward and make themselves available, because this is just so important to, you know, you talk about the culture of a state. This is so important to the culture of Western Australia, what goes on every Saturday and Sunday in so many country leagues across WA.
And you and I have both grown up in different areas, obviously, but a lot of country football, country sport, netball, football, tennis, all those things. Sometimes we know there's been a big focus around the mental health in
Yes.
recent times. I know the Commission is doing a great job around that as well. I've seen all the posts coming up, and sometimes your biggest support in rural, regional and even metropolitan areas, that 1 week or that one day of the week when you get together with your teammates, that
That's
can be your
right.
biggest support.
Yeah, well, all leagues carry a talk to a mate round. It's run by Regional Men's Health. They do a power of work across the regions, and it's just so important that people can come together, and even if it's not for playing but for training, just the connection, you'll be able to talk about issues and just ask your mate, how are you going?
All right, well, it's time, folks, to get into game mode, and you'll see up on the screen there are some QR codes for each day, and if you can just screen that onto your phone or however you do your QR codes. The technical stuff's gone past me, Glenn, but no, the QR codes are magnificent, and that will give you access to each game throughout each day. There'll be 4 different codes, and of course don't forget we are doing a footy show each day as well, so magnificent time ahead. We're going to go and get ready for the game now, and look forward to those teams. They've been eyeing each other off out there behind us and doing their warm-up, so it's an exciting times, folks. I'm not going to sleep for 4 days, Glenn. I don't know
It's gonna
about
be
you.
beautiful. No, it's going to be great, Tony, and stay tuned, and as people said, get those QR codes and keep watching.
All right, well, stay tuned, folks, and we'll be back shortly.